Hello, namaste, welcome to Relish Delish. Today we're going to be making a vegetarian delight. My daughter Hannah turned vegetarian a couple of years ago. She had been to a restaurant a few days back with her friends, and when we asked her what she had for dinner, she said that she had a steak recipe and she had the steak, amazing steak. So we were wondering what kind of steak it is, and she said, oh no, it was just a cauliflower steak, but it was really delicious. Now today's recipe is for all you vegetarian lovers out there. I have quite a few of my friends who are vegetarians. So this is a cauliflower steak, and I'm going to be making this with some quinoa rice, and there's a delicious dressing on top, which is going to be made. It's spicy mint and coriander sauce to go along with this, and it will be garnished with some delicious almond flakes too. So stay tuned, and before we begin this recipe, please don't forget to subscribe on the bell icon so that you'll get more such recipes. So today the first thing that we're going to be doing is make the sauce, the coriander and mint sauce. So for that I have here chopped coriander, some mint leaves, you can also use sage leaves, a couple of garlic cloves, some chili, and I have also used the stems of the coriander, excluding the woody parts which is not needed, and we'll be using some lime juice too. So all this goes into a mixer jar. I have roughly chopped the herbs. And a dash of lemon juice. It's about half a lime. Lime tastes very good with coriander and mint. So this is what is going in here. And next up, I'm just going to be putting a hint of, this is a cumin powder. So just a little bit of that. Some salt to taste. You can always add salt later if you want. And in goes some yogurt. This will give us a nice tangy sauce. And later on we're going to be using some extra virgin oil, but I don't want to use the olive oil right now. So added some water to bring this all together, and bring it over here, and just going to start. So as you can see, it's coming to a nice sauce. I'm going to pour this out into a container in a bowl, and then add some extra virgin oil for this. So as you can see, this is the consistency of the sauce. It's a little thick, but not too thick, and not runny either. And if you the trick is to put very little water, and in case it becomes runny, you can always add in some almonds or some cashew nuts to make the sauce a little thicker. But this is perfect as it is. And since you are putting lime juice and yogurt, you don't need to make it very runny. I'm going to add some extra virgin olive oil. This is Grandma's Gold olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, which my son recently brought home, and it's really good for dishes like this, just to top it off. Olive oil, as you know, is low smoking oil. You don't use it for frying up stuff and all like that, but these kind of dishes, it's perfect. So just a hint of olive oil, and that's about it. And we just leave the sauce aside before we begin the rest of the process. I'm going to be making the quinoa now. So I'm just going to measure 1 cup of quinoa in a measuring cup. So what we need to do is wash this. So I'm going to wash this under running water. I'll take this saucepan, and I'm going to put the washed quinoa in here. I'm just going to, since this is 1 cup of quinoa, I'm going to measure 1 3/4 cups of water. One and 3/4 cup of water, and I'm going to bring this over to the gas, and this is going to go on high flame for about a minute till it comes to a boil. Then I'm going to close the lid and cook this quinoa for 15 minutes. So let's do that. Water is boiling. I'm just going to be sauteing the veggies here for the quinoa rice. So this is some olive oil in the pan. So I'll add some chopped garlic in here. For the quinoa rice, you can pretty much put any veggies that you want. I'm putting carrots and bell peppers, red bell pepper. And then I'll be adding a little bit of lemon juice to this. This will go into the quinoa after it's cooked. So just saute the garlic for a few seconds. Now I'm going to be adding in the carrots. Let's get that all in here. Bell peppers won't take that much time, so saute the carrots for about 2 minutes. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. And then I'll go ahead and add in the bell peppers. This will just be cooking for about a minute or so. You don't want it very soggy, but at the same time it has to be cooked. So now, as you can see, the water here is boiling, the quinoa. So I'm going to close the lid and put the stove on simmer for about 15 minutes. Check on the quinoa. It's only been about 7 minutes now and it's almost done. So like it depends on how much the range that you use. It's about 12 minutes usually it takes to cook, but this is done now. So I'm just going to close this and leave it on for another 3 minutes or so, and then I will be adding the vegetables to this. So the quinoa has been resting now. It was cooking for about 12 minutes and then resting for about 10 minutes. I'm going to add in the veggies now. And some lemon juice. So the quinoa rice is done. Just going to keep this covered and it will keep warm till now the third process, which is the final step, which is making the cauliflower steak. So we're going to be doing the main part now, that is cutting up the cauliflower into steaks. So the trick here is to cut the, what I do is cut up about 1/4 of the, not 1/4, just the edges of the cauliflower, making sure that the stem is intact on both the sides. So you can use this cauliflower, these florets later on for any dish that you want, or you can put it back in the fridge. Now what we need here is to cut steaks out of this. So depending on the size of the cauliflower, you can cut it into either 3, 4, sometimes even 2 steaks out of a cauliflower. So keeping the stem intact here, I'm just going to be cutting it. A steak. That's how it looks like. You can discard the green stems over here, but the stem should be intact. That's how you cut the cauliflower steaks. So once the steaks are cut, the cauliflower steaks, I have here some seasoning. This is basically some paprika, pepper powder and salt, just basic seasoning. And you can also use Cajun seasoning or any seasoning that you want. If you really want to make it Indian spicy cauliflower steak, you can add some garam masala to this. I'm going to brush this with some oil. So and you need to brush it on both the sides. So but first I'm going to just sprinkle the spice mix on top, just so. Just going to turn this over. And brush it again so that both the sides get the seasoning. So now I'm going to take this brush here and brush it all over. So when the cauliflower is charred, it gets a nice brown steak look. That's the look that we want for the steak. All of it over there. Some more here. So like so on all the sides, we put the spicing. So I have here some oil, and the pan is just heated up the pan. And for this purpose, because it's going to go in the oven eventually, it's just going to be browned on both the sides for around 5 to 6 minutes. After this is going to cook in the oven till it's tender. So for this purpose, we won't be using extra virgin olive oil. You have to use some high heat oil. So right now I'm using sunflower oil for this. You can also use peanut oil or any oil which takes high heat. So let me see how many I can put in here, the steaks. I think I can put in one more here. I'm going to leave this for about 4 minutes. That's very important, just so that it gets brown on the bottom, and then you need to flip it very carefully. I'm just going to turn this. So now what I'll be doing is just put some lemon, a slice of lemon in here. The lemon will help the spices not to burn. And I'm going to also add a touch of butter to this. Will also help to cool down the pan a little bit. And so after 3 more minutes, searing on the opposite side, I'm going to transfer this vessel to the oven. Now, like you can see, this is an oven safe dish that I'm using, a heavy bottom pan. You can also, what you can do is lie in a baking sheet and put the cauliflower directly in the oven for about 15 to 16 minutes. But I just like to sear the cauliflower before putting it in the oven. So I'm going to transfer this to the oven. And I'll set the timer on for about 12 minutes. I'm going to check after 12 minutes. So it's been about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to check this. So all of it is fork tender. That's perfect. So now let's go ahead and plate our quinoa. So I have here some quinoa. Just going to lay this. You have to be very gentle so as not to break this on top here like that. Put some sauce all over. And then I have some flaked almonds which I had toasted and kept earlier. So just for an added touch, some almonds. So here's the cauliflower steak with some quinoa and coriander sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for more such exciting recipes, please visit our website relish.ca. Thanks and have a good day.